Was Genghis Khan born with a blood clot in his hand? How many people did he kill? How many children he had? How did his worst enemies become his powerful generals? All this amazing stuff and much more about one of the most cruel leaders in history in this video coming up. But before that, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. And don't forget to like and comment. And here we go. The man who would become the great Khan of the Mongols was born along the banks of the Onon River sometime around 1162 and originally named Temujin, which means of iron or blacksmith. He didn't get the horrific name Genghis Khan until 1206 when he was proclaimed leader of the Mongols at a tribal meeting known as Kurultai. From an early age, Genghis was forced to contend with the brutality of life on the Mongolian steppe. Rival Tatars poisoned his father when he was only 9, and his own tribe leader expelled his family and left his mother to raise her 7 children alone. Genghis grew up hunting and foraging to survive, and as an adolescent, he may have even murdered his own half-brother in a dispute over food. During his teenage years, rival clans abducted both he and his young wife, and Genghis spent time as a slave before making a daring escape. Despite all these hardships, by his early 20s, he had established himself as a formidable warrior and leader. Some of his most trusted generals were former enemies. The Great Khan had a keen eye for talent, and he usually promoted his officers on skill and experience rather than class, ancestry, or even past allegiances. One famous example of his belief in meritocracy came during a 1201 battle against the rival Taijut tribe, when Genghis was nearly killed after his horse was shot out from under him with an arrow. When he later addressed the Taijut prisoners and demanded to know who was responsible, one soldier bravely stood up and admitted to being the shooter. Stirred by the archer's boldness, Genghis made him an officer in his army and later nicknamed him Jebei, or Arrow, in honor of their first meeting on the battlefield. Genghis Khan often gave other kingdoms a chance to peacefully submit to Mongol rule, but he didn't hesitate to bring down the sword on any society that resisted. One of his most famous campaigns of revenge came in 1219, after the Shah of the Khwarezmid Empire broke a treaty with the Mongols. Genghis had offered the Shah a valuable trade agreement to exchange goods along the Silk Road, but when his first emissaries were murdered, the enraged Khan responded by unleashing the full force of his Mongol hordes on the Khwarezmid territories in Persia. The subsequent war left millions dead and the Shah's empire in utter ruin. But the Khan didn't stop there. He followed up on his victory by returning east and waging war on the Tanguts of Jizya, a group of Mongol subjects who had refused his order to provide troops for his invasion of Khwarezm. After routing the Tangut forces and sacking their capital, the Great Khan ordered the execution of the entire Tangut royal family as punishment for their defiance. One of the most scariest thing about Genghis Khan is that while it's impossible to know for sure how many people perished during the Mongol conquests, many historians put the number at somewhere around 40 million. Census from the Middle Ages showed that the population of China plummeted by tens of millions during the Khan's lifetime, and scholars estimate that he may have killed a full 3/4 of modern-day Iran's population during his war with the Khwarezmid Empire. All told, the Mongols' attack may have reduced the entire world population by as much as 11%, along with the bow and the horse. The Mongols' most potent weapon may have been their vast communication network. One of his earliest decrees as Khan involved the formation of a mounted courier service known as the Yam. This medieval express consisted of a well-organized series of post houses and way stations strung out across the whole of the empire. By stopping to rest or take on a fresh mount every few miles, official riders could often travel as far as 200 miles a day. The system allowed goods and information to travel with unprecedented speed, but it also acted as the eyes and the ears of the Khan. Thanks to the Yam, he could easily keep abreast of military and political developments and maintain contact with his extensive network of spies and scouts. Of all the enigmas surrounding the Khan's life, perhaps the most famous concerns how it ended. The traditional narrative says he died in 1227 from injuries sustained in a fall from a horse, but other sources list everything from malaria to an arrow wound in the knee. One of the most questionable accounts even claims he was murdered while trying to force himself on a Chinese princess. However he died, the Khan took great pain to keep his final resting place a secret. According to legend, his funeral procession slaughtered everyone they came in contact with during their journey and then repeatedly rode horses over his grave to help conceal it. The tomb is most likely on or around a Mongolian mountain called Burkhan Khaldun, but to this day its precise location is unknown. That's all for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want more videos like this, mention in the comment section.